Let's go!
Cowboys beat the Giants on Thursday Night Football 20-15 in a road division victory, making the Cowboys 2-2 on the season, avoiding any sort of early season disaster by falling to 1-3. So instead, they do beat the Giants on the road, move to 2-2. Thursday Night Football. I'm Dan O'Malley, along with Trey Trenholm, Raj Sharma. We are the Treehouse Podcast, and we do enjoy making fun of our favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. So we do this little offshoot show for our own therapeutic benefit. And I believe it helps. And so, Raj, we're happy to have you back after taking last week off. And I would imagine that you had a lot of sorrow after watching that Ravens game. But we're not here to talk about the Ravens because that was ugly and that was bad, and that's in the past. Now we're going to talk about the only immediate past, and that was last night in New York. Cowboys beat the Giants. Yay. Yeah. So we're happy, right? So let's start with where we normally start the day after a Cowboys game. Our big three takeaways. Trey, we will start with you. What is your big takeaway from the Cowboys win over the Giants last night, 20-15?
They're a garbage team. I mean, I forget. Can we cuss on this one?
You know what?
They are in trash.
Yeah.
Just for clarification, are we talking about the Giants or are we talking about
We're talking about the Cowboys. They are trash. That might be the worst team in 10 to 15 years.
I feel like I need to go back and adjust the Chiron to be a little more colorful with the language. Now it feels kind of subdued down there.
I am so glad Trey and I are on the same page.
Oh, wow.
It is if you want to squeak by, okay. If the thought is they're going to get better down the road, maybe, okay. I guess. But just watching them last night, it's just trash.
What is gonna improve? Like, I mean, let's be real clear. The Giants are an even trashier team.
Yes. I mean, five field goals.
I mean, and how many penalty flags last night?
Oh yeah.
On the Cowboys, I believe it was 11.
Yeah.
14, I believe.
14 total?
I think it was 14 total.
Yeah.
The good coach is with the Redskins now. Oh, I'm sorry, the Commanders.
Yes, sorry. And I love how the Redskins family's like, can we bring back that guy? Like, can we please bring him back? No, it's painful to watch. If you're trying to, like, as an enthusiast, like if you're just like sitting at a bar or a restaurant or a sports bar or whatever, trying to watch a good game, that was, I mean, we beat a 5 field goal team. Is that what we did?
There are a couple of ways to look at this. There's the glass half full of Cowboys Kool-Aid, and there's the glass half full of Cowboys Kool-Aid as Raj takes a sip of his Cowboy glass water. Is that straight from the Star? Like, is that straight from the natural Cowboy spring inside the Star in Frisco?
Is that straight from, is that straight from Jerry's teat?
Yeah, he's so old it just comes out clear now.
These are all the tears from last night's game. I mean, it wasn't enjoyable to watch. Like, I caught myself paying more attention to the Cajun chicken pasta that I was eating at Chili's than I was watching the game.
How sad are we? Like, what a sad state it is for Cowboys fans when we can't even go to wonderful places to watch the game. We feel like we have to punish ourselves by watching the game at Chili's or myself at Boston's Pizza.
I mean,
I live in Mesquite.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Chili's
Let me ask this question. Was the Applebee's closed?
No, it's just too far.
So that's the dining options in Mesquite. Chili's.
You have
Waffle
Chili's.
House not available.
That's the other way. That's off the highway, so truckers can pull in to get a waffle and a hand job. So it's Chili's, Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm not saying anything bad about the place. I like it, but the bartender slash server at Buffalo Wild Wings really hates his job. So he's not pleasant to be around. And it's like a younger crowd that goes there, and it's a bunch of Cowboys fans that go to that Chili's. Yeah, so and the Cajun chicken pasta is really good. It's delightful.
I make
So
fun. I make fun, but I do enjoy the Chili's. I've
you
had some great times at Chili's, especially the one
can't.
in
I mean,
Cleburne. Mhm.
you can't go wrong with the skillet queso.
No.
Yeah.
All right, so Trey, your takeaway from last night's Cowboys victory is the Cowboys are garbage. Raj, do you have a big takeaway from the game besides agreeing with Trey?
I think we lost Micah Parsons and Diggs. I think I think they're both injured. I don't know what's going on with I thought that they said it was cramps for Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came back and then when he came back with no helmet and then just sat on the sidelines. And then I think we lost Micah Parsons. I don't know. So if that's the case and we're this garbage with them,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be devastating without them. If we lose Michael Parsons, that's a wrap on the season.
I did hear that the same story with Diggs is that supposedly he was having a cramping issue, and he was able, because the Cowboys are actually able to put some semblance of a drive together to kill some time in the fourth quarter, not giving the Giants a chance to make a comeback. He had time to get an IV to help mitigate those cramps. Yes, Trey.
I'd like to also point this out, and this is another reason why I say this team is effing garbage.
Mm-hmm.
It was 72 degrees in New York. It wasn't like they were in a sauna. It wasn't like they were, in the old Texas Stadium. They can't make it through a game. They need IVs. I mean, I realize it was twice as long because of all the penalties, but still.
And I was just in New York, so you're right. The weather, delightful.
So that tells me that something else is going on, because if it's not weather related and it's not heat and weather related cramping because you're dehydrated for some other reason. And I'm kind of wondering what was happening before the game, like the night before, the day before, whatever.
I mean, here's the thing. I was just in New York, right? And I will tell you, my favorite bar in the world is a place called Rudy's. They close at 4. The bar that is directly next door to them is also a Chinese restaurant. They open at 4. So Rudy's closes at 4 a.m. The Chinese restaurant next door opens at 4 a.m. So you can drink around the clock if you want to, and I think they did.
It's called the city that never sleeps for a reason.
Yes.
and maybe Diggs didn't either.
Yeah. And I mean, what are we doing? What was the point of bringing Zeke Elliott back? 4 yards? That's what he rushed for last night, was 4 yards.
I feel like I need to check on that, because I saw one run where he had at least 6.
Yeah, I remember one run he had at 8.
But the penalty called it back, right? The holding penalty on the tackle, the rookie tackle. What was his total for last? I thought it was 4 yards.
Here's what we're going to start doing. If you're going to start bringing up stats in the middle of the show, look it up beforehand.
I think that's what I think I did. That's what I'm asking.
He was 5 rushes for 19 yards.
19 yards. So suck on that, Raj.
Yeah, my bad.
Our fullback
is what Zeke would be telling you if he were here.
Our fullback, was our leading rusher.
Yeah, he
11
carries for 46 yards.
That's it. Yeah. Look, that's not a bad average. Certainly better than Zeke's average.
And they also, I think, put CeeDee Lamb in the backfield at one point.
They did. He had a nice run and didn't fumble, which was nice. So let's get so that's Trey, your big takeaway. The Cowboys are garbage. Raj, you're worried about injuries.
Yes.
With the Cowboys after this victory against the Giants. Yes, Trey.
Oh, I just want to say, and Dan, I know you're gonna give me a rose-colored glasses view of this game.
Mm-hmm.
I need to, because you two are taking such a dumpster fire approach. I'm going to try to balance this out just a little bit.
Oh, don't offend dumpster fires.
Yeah, they're at least organized. They can contain.
So
let's see. What was your takeaway?
my takeaway is less controversial, but that is noticing that Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey is human after all. Missing a 41-yard field goal that really could have put an extra nail in the Giants' coffin last night. But I don't know if it was being distracted by autographing his own jersey being worn by Post Malone in pregame or what. But now, keep in mind, he still smashed a 60-yard field goal with room to spare, but the 41-yard field goal, it just kind of drifted to the right a little bit, like the leaves in New York during fall.
He did say, and I think he jinxed himself. He did say that given the conditions of that stadium, he could hit it from 70.
It's
said
nice
that out loud.
it's nice that you can hit it from 70, but you need to hit it from 41.
Yes. But he out loud said that, and when I heard him say that to whatever press person he was talking to, I was like, "Yeah, you just jinxed yourself, buddy." Like when you're like, "I can just get in this stadium, I can hit it from 70." I'm like, "Okay, well, here we go. You're gonna mess up something." And it was nice to see Post Malone wearing the Aubrey jersey.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's probably why he missed. He was so starstruck. My God, someone besides Brandon Aubrey has a Brandon Aubrey jersey.
Well, and let's look at the big macro picture of that. The biggest star in the stadium is wearing the biggest star of the team's jersey, and it's the effing kicker.
Yeah. Look, this is not a new thing for the Cowboys. All we have to do is go back into recent history to Dan Bailey when he was the best player on the Cowboys. And we would have these same conversations when we were watching the game somewhere, saying how, my God, the best player on the Cowboys, and this was true for years, was Dan Bailey. Then he left, and then we had a little bit of a revolving door of kickers. Now we've got another amazing kicker on the team in Brandon Aubrey that seems now to have taken the Dan Bailey mantle of being the best player on the Cowboys. Even though he missed a field goal last night, I still think it's true.
The best player on the team. We just signed a quarterback a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you guys remember that part.
Oh, I do remember that part.
Yeah,
$240 million, and Brandon Aubrey's thinking, I'm better than he is, but I'm making about $239 million less.
Yeah. It was I appreciate Austin Post. I appreciate him supporting the with the Aubrey jersey, but when that's the best player on the team, that's frightening for the rest of the season. Like if we're just going long term for the rest of the season, that's a frightening thought.
Well, the other frightening thought you brought up earlier, Raj, and that is Micah Parsons.
There we go.
He left the game last night. He walked gingerly off the field and then was eventually carted off sockless and shoeless. So you got to see a nice little lower leg action on Micah Parsons, not looking very excited or happy. So yep. Micah Parsons leaves the stadium last night via cart. The fear is the dreaded high ankle sprain.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay,
so according to reports this morning, Micah Parsons is feared to have suffered a high ankle sprain in Thursday night's win over the Giants. That's according to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network. He does have an MRI scheduled for today to determine the severity of the injury. In case you're curious, and this is where Trey, I'm going to take off my Cowboys rose-colored glasses and say to you that despite through 3+ games on the season, Micah Parsons has 14 tackles, 6 QB hits, and 1 sack. It still feels like he was underperforming so far this season.
He can't carry the whole team.
I love watching Trey try not to cuss. Yeah, he can't carry the. I mean, but he has been. I mean, that's the thing. Like, if we lose him, you lose Diggs. Dak is not the guy. CeeDee Lamb can't do everything on his own. The rookie tackle that I think there was 3 holding or 4 holding calls on that kid.
Yeah,
Like,
he's having himself a rookie year, which goes back to week 1.
Mhm.
That's Guyton, by the way, out of
Oh,
OU.
gotcha. Yeah.
But that takes us back to week 1 when my big takeaway was, how is it you signed Dak to a $240 million contract, but you let your all-pro, Ring of Honor to be, Hall of Famer to be leave.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And you trust a rookie to your quarterback, to your $240 million quarterback's backside.
I mean, I go back and I say the biggest mistake Jerry Jones ever made.
Not pulling out.
I'm going to leave that joke alone. Is signing Deion Sanders.
That actually, I would say,
that team's a dynasty if he re-signs the core players like Kevin Gogan and some of those other linemen that protected Troy Aikman. You win another couple but Jerry's ego got in the way.
Mm-hmm. But he does that with with players that offend him in any way, like Zeke Elliott, pulls down somebody's top, so he ships him off to New England for a year, just to teach him a lesson. Des Bryant slaps his mom.
That's not connected. There was years in between those things.
No.
But I mean, like Des Bryant, like a great receiver, slaps his mom. He cuts him from the team.
Well,
that was still a bunch of time in between there.
It was the same season.
No,
I don't think so. For sure, the Zeke thing was like 4 years later, because I was on Lower Greenville Avenue when he pulled them kitties out. I saw that. It wasn't my video.
You saw.
I saw it. Yeah, absolutely. He was right on top of. He was on top of Doty's.
Okay.
The bar, not a chick named Doty. And then there were years. That was years before he ends up going to New England. And then the Dez slap thing, that had nothing to do with him being cut. It had everything to do. Dez being cut had everything to do with him being loud and obnoxious and fumbling.
And the fact that, I mean, Jerry had paid someone to be Dez's babysitter, and they were having trouble with Dez, and Dez just was on the backside of his career. And
they basically cut him loose a year probably earlier than what Jerry would have done.
Yeah, but it goes back to the bigger thing is Jerry is the architect of the salary cap, and he still has never learned how to manage it. And
that's true. Yeah,
you've got to sometimes you've got to sign your core players. I'll still go back. I mean, Jerry goes back. He's talking about a player's crank size last week. Like,
Lord,
he can't mess up the Cowboys. I mean, they're always going to be the juggernaut of fans. They can suck and they still sell out games. He screwed up. He just, for the next 5 years, the Cowboys are screwed because you're with Dak, because no one's going to take that contract.
No,
it's a good thing you got him to mattress endorsement. Damn it. It's a good thing you got Dak a mattress endorsement, because we're going to be in bed with him for the next 5 years. There we go. Now I was able to spit it out. All right, let's move on to our final aspect of today's show, which is kind of tied in throughout the theme of today in this post-game reaction. Cowboys beating the Giants 20-15. And that is this: despite the Cowboys evening their record at 2-2 and avoiding serious concern at 1-3, are they still lost? Because most teams at this point in the season, being 2-2, not terrible. That's not cause for major concern. Are the Cowboys being 2-2? Does that mean they're back on track because they were able to even things out, or are we still watching the Lost Boys?
I'm going to go with it's a wrap. I mean, you can. I don't know what the end. I don't know if they're going to be. What the record is going to be, but I think it's I think we're watching just that's the best they was last night.
Trey,
and that's not great. So
they're like those group of like the Thai Boy Scouts that were lost in that cave and, needed a monolithic rescue mission to get them out. It's yes, they are lost and aren't going to be found.
And that's the reason I asked the question, is because because this used to be the quarter, the first 25% of the season, but now the season's a little bit longer, so it's not quite there. But after 4 games is when you can start to assess things a little bit and get an idea of what most teams do, which is, what is our identity? The thing is, with the Cowboys, they've had the same identity for a handful of years, and nothing seems to have changed. And nothing seems to have changed this year, because at 2-2, the only thing I'm glad about is that they're not 1-3.
Yeah, I mean,
but I kind of wish they were, because I wish that they were. I wish they had lost last night, because then that way my theory could have been tested. And that was, had the Cowboys lost last night, I think Mike McCarthy fires Mike Zimmer, the defensive coordinator, and tries to extend his lifeline a little bit. And if they keep losing, then I think McCarthy gets popped in the middle of the season, which I would have loved, because then that means the Cowboys would have had a very down year and had the chance at a higher draft pick, instead of all this middling to upper middling they've been doing since the Dak era began. Because this is one thing other teams do. They'll go up and then they'll go down, the peaks and the valleys. The Cowboys do just enough to make sure that they don't get a decent draft pick.
I think they should have kept Kellen Moore and fired Mike McCarthy. I liked just the ingenuity of the play calling. Mm-hmm. He had he's a younger guy, and the play calling was a little bit more, I don't know, kind of fun to watch. Even if they were losing, I don't mind that. It was
but they're running around and doing stuff. Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Look, did you see Turpin? He did like a circle thing like they do in Arena League.
I mean, Kellen Moore, no. But look at the Redskins. Look at their offensive coordinator,
Commanders.
A pretty talented guy named Cliff Kingsbury, who obviously was there for the taking. You keep Dan Quinn, get rid of Fat Boy, and you might have an innovative offense.
I will say the plaid hats were really nice.
That's the best thing you can say about the Cowboys game last night.
I thought they were super cute.
You're headed straight to the Cowboy shop, aren't you?
I am.
The best part of last night's game is how much I really enjoy the "I don't give an F" Al Michaels.
Yes, that was so
from his Amazon plugs to his commentary on the game. You can tell he has gotten to the point he is the best there is, and he doesn't give a flying F.
Yeah.
The Rings of Power. Yeah, great.
Yeah,
that sounds really interesting.
Yo, look, at least he's, and I bet Joe Buck said the same thing when he moved over to Monday Night Football. I bet he was excited not having to plug Family Guy anymore. Because you're right, Trey. The reads that Al Michaels does on those promos in the game for Rings of Power, oh my God, it is beyond lackluster.
Oh, it's contemptuous.
You're right. Like Al Michaels looks at the card, he's like, okay, I got it. The producer hands him his card. Here's your promo. Here's your liner for Rings of Power. Let me see here. Rings of Power. Get elves. And elves and dwarves and Gandalf. You shall not pass. Speaking of passing, Dak sucks. I would like to see more of I don't give a Al Michaels, as opposed to only, like, I want to see that extend beyond reading TV promos. I want to see I don't give an F Al Michaels, the actual play-by-play man.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Look, Dak threw an interception. Who's surprised?
Yeah. I mean, just his commentary on all the flags. It was just as the night wore on. He was like, oh, there's a shocker.
Yeah. And he's mad at the officials for throwing that many flags, because he's already up well past his bedtime, and this just makes him worse.
At one point, he's like, they're just out of laundry. I'm like, look, just to call the flags laundry at that point. He's like, they're just out of laundry. They just keep throwing it.
Well, that's because he knows that even though New York never sleeps, he knows that his dry cleaning place is about to close, and he needs someone to go pick up his dry cleaning.
He's just sitting there going, I called the making Miracle on Ice, and I got to do this crap now.
And now I go from the Miracle on Ice to the dumpster fire in New Jersey.
Yeah. I miss NBC.
I feel like that's a good moment for us to bow out of week 4 on the Treehouse Cowboys. We appreciate you hanging out with us. We will see you next week, which will be like 10, 11 days from now, because the Cowboys get a bit of a break. We'll wait and see what Micah Parsons' injury status is. And I may check in on Al Michaels midweek just to see what he's up to and see if he has any new TV shows to tell us about.
Let's go!